Smack talking raw, where the legends live and the rookies get schooled in law. This ain't just talk. This is smack talking raw. You ready, Pinky? Judge always Ron. Let's lay the smack down. Boom.
Welcome to another episode of Smack Talking Raw. It's your boy Pinky. We got Rostradamus in the house.
What's
back
up,
from a
Pinky?
glorious weekend.
Oh man, what a glorious weekend we have, and we start off this particular show of Smack Talking Raw talking about something that nobody ever talks about, which is WrestleMania moving sites in the middle of WrestleMania, before WrestleMania even gets started. What's happening?
Mind blown. I'm flabbergasted. I am shocked. And to be honest, Ron, I'm a little pissed off.
There you go. Come on, Pinky.
I don't like it. First of all, it's being selfish. I was excited to go to NOLA with you, buddy. I was excited to see it, have a good time. Went to NOLA for the first time last year. I love the people, the food, the atmosphere. Pinky had a good old time on Bourbon Street, let me tell you.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So then just going down there and having a good old time with all the wrestling fans sounded like a great idea. And I'm kind of sad they took it from us, Ron. They took it from us.
They didn't even just take it from us. They did what The Rock did to WrestleMania. First of all, they brought The Rock out to talk about where WrestleMania was going to be in 2026, bringing it up that, wait a minute, I just noticed that whatever's associated with The Rock just doesn't happen. That's just what, if you think about it, The Rock came out, he announced, we're going back to New Orleans, right? We're going to do that thing. That didn't happen. I'm going to be at WrestleMania. That didn't happen. So we got a common theme about that. And I'm really bummed out because first time since COVID, right? We had it was supposed to be in Tampa for WrestleMania 36. And that didn't happen because it happened in the Performance Center because of COVID. And now here we are, 5 years later, we're doing it again. We're moving somewhere. And the hint is Vegas, again, because it did so well money-wise this year that they want to go back to Vegas this year. That's the first indicator of where they want to go.
Yeah, I keep seeing it's basically Vegas or London are like the two places. And Saudi Arabia are both, like, all three are kind of being brought up as potential options. But I understand, Vegas did show out. They made good money in Vegas. I know Vegas, it helps Vegas. I've heard that right now Vegas is not quite as popping as it had been in the past. But they got to understand what times we live in now. We ain't got not everybody's got that disposable income to go just blow it in Vegas right now with all the other increased costs for everything else we spend money on. Like you just don't have it. So that, tourism is not as big a thing, which again, I understand. You bring in an event like this and it brings people out of the woodwork that want to spend their money on this event. I just hate that idea of having it in the same place twice, 2 years in a row.
Right. They haven't done that in a long time. It's been since they were in Atlantic City, right? For 4 and 5.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Did Madison Square Garden have like 1 and 2? And then they went to Ford, Detroit for one of them. I don't know all my history, but
I believe it was WrestleMania 4 and 5 where they were in Atlantic City for the Trump Towers. They did it back in WrestleMania's 4 and 5. Me being Ronstradamus and all, I'm pretty positive that that's accurate data.
You,
We've been
you know,
to the same location multiple times, but back to back, it's only been WrestleMania 4 and 5.
yeah, I think that's a bad precedent to set. So I am hoping beyond hope that this reporting is wrong and that it's not Vegas. So I actually think London would be fine. I can't afford to head over there, but if it's in London, like at least that's fine. And I think that London will show out. European crowds always show out, so I don't think that's going to be a problem for the WWE. But having it in Vegas would be kind of like to me, that'd be kind of like a letdown. As you know, I went to the Super Bowl in Vegas a couple years ago when it was there, and everybody was talking about, oh, it should just be in Vegas every year. And I was like, if we did that, it would lose some of its like appeal, because one of the appeals to the Super Bowl is that it travels around.
Right.
Get to experience that city, and there's so much as part of that. I go to the draft every year. That's another thing that I do. My son and my best friend, Ron, you're always welcome. Anytime you want to come, you let us know. But we go every year. And one of the coolest things about that is just like you go to a different city every year. You check out the city. You get to hang out with the fans. You get to go enjoy, different food that you don't get, here at home. So it's just an experience. So I think that experience needs to travel. It can't stay in one location, because then I think it would get stale. Vegas had like the whole week. If you replicate that, doesn't that become a little old, right? If you're doing all these, they did so many events. The Dead Man, they had SmackDown, they had Raw, they had NXT, they had an NXT wrestling event before WrestleMania. They had I think AEW was in town, TNA was in town. They had the roast, they had the Hall of Fame. They had so much WrestleMania content going that weekend. As a fan, I don't even know how you make that kind of money to go to most of those things, because those were not cheap events added on WrestleMania tickets. So
yeah, I really got present to the fact that with them going to Vegas and having such a big gate, TKO would pull the plug on this. That's what I think this is a political pull, that TKO is saying, look, we've made a bunch of money here in Vegas. There's a lot of ways to fill out that crowd and everything like that. Let's go get that money again while we can, because now we're in a good space right now. That's something that may be something they're considering. And I just think that it's really BS that WrestleMania has become so corporate. And I'm going to get right into what we're going to talk about today, because it's all a good streamline to that. So today we're going to talk about the Attitude Era versus today's product. And Pinky, I sent you a video for you to take a look at, just so that you can have some context about it. This week on Monday Night Raw, we had a segment where it was obvious that CM Punk was going to come out. And when he came out to a versus back in the Attitude Era, the crowd was going wild. Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, right? And it was like incredible when a superstar would come out, regardless of whether they were a good guy or bad guy, because you knew some stuff was about to happen. And right now, when I'm watching WWE programming, it's more PG than it's ever been, and we just moved to Netflix. I was expecting, when we moved to Netflix, just a completely genre of wrestling coming from WWE programming, and Triple H, TKO, and the wrestlers in general have just missed it. It's as soft as cupcakes right now.
Those are all facts, my friend. I can't even argue with you. I know one of these times we need to argue, Ron. We need to get there. We've been real nice to each other for 5 episodes, and one of these days we're gonna have to wrestle. We're gonna have to get in there on our opinions. But I can't even argue with you, man. Like those are just straight facts. And now again, I know part of the Attitude Era and why it may be it probably is the greatest era of all time is you had all of these Hall of Famers like fighting for position, and putting forth their best effort in everything they did. And again, they were Hall of Famers. Every single guy was solid on the mic. Every single guy had that attitude. The guys had full reign to do whatever. Part of that whole attitude era, Stone Cold doing shit they won't let anybody do nowadays. And then again, letting him do that to his boss, right, Vince McMahon. And again, one of the things we don't have, and maybe that's one of the reasons, is we don't have that overarching villain. Vince McMahon played that overarching villain at all times. He was in control. He was the puppet master. And a lot of the top guys fought back against that, giving us weekly content of a story that, again, week after week never seemed to get old, because there were so many new things they were doing to mess with Vince McMahon. And we don't have that. Triple H is the good guy, right?
So one of the things I wanted to bring up inside of that is that back in the Attitude Era, you had a young Stone Cold, you had a young Triple H, you had a young Rock, you had a young John Cena, you had a young. What's the problem that's going on right now with WWE programming is this is what I'm hearing in the promos. You know what? I've been around here for 14 years. I've been around here for 25 years. I've been around since Moses was alive. I've been around, all these different things and these connotations of like, I'm been here for a long time. Where is the new blood? You have Braun Breaker, who is outstanding. Yes, you pair him with Seth Rollins to get to that next level, but he was already at that level. He was the NXT champion, dominant in NXT. Bring him along and let him start being dominant on the main brand. And then we have Ilya Dragunov, what have you. He had came in and he was supposed to be something. He disappears because he gets hurt. We have all these young wrestlers that are just meandering in mediocrity. You got to bring some of these guys up. Like when Lesnar came in, Lesnar didn't come in waiting for anything to come in. You were saying earlier that a lot of these wrestlers can't do what Stone Cold can do. Bullshit. They just got to take the brass ring and they got to go out there and they got to go get it, because nobody's going to give you something until you get over, because Triple H, the leader of WWE Creative, he had this group that he ran called D-Generation X. Do you think he doesn't want to have somebody that eclipses D-Generation X's formula? But the problem that Triple H got into, and I'm sorry I'm on a rant because I've been on a rant the last 3 weeks, but I'm watching the product and it just pisses me off, is Triple H wrote himself into a corner because he was so pro-bloodline that he lost his focus on the rest of the product. Like, I can ride Roman and I can write spin-off series after spin-off series. I got the Cosby Show here, right? Now I can have Tempest Bledsoe have a show. I can have Malcolm Jamal Warner have a show. I can have Claire Huxtable have a show. I can have all these people, but none of those shows ever sold. Why? Because Bill Cosby was always the main event. And now you got Roman Reigns, who has been the main event. He's kind of like in and out. So now when you're looking for the next big guy, there is no next big guy. And there is no essence of the next big guy. They tried to make Cody the big guy, of having him come on. And here's something that I just want you to take stock in right now. This is the biggest thing to just know. Cody Rhodes had a match against Kevin Owens in a ladder match that was outstanding earlier this year. Outstanding. He did whatever it took to keep the undisputed championship around his waist. John Cena says he's going to kill wrestling, and then it comes time for him to do a thing to John Cena to protect professional wrestling, and he has a conscience. How do you have 2 episodes back to back and one makes total sense and the other one is like over here somewhere else? Like that writing, Triple H, if you're listening to the writing, your stories have to make sense, man. If your stories don't make sense, you need to have people that can come in and write stories that make sense. Sami Zayn and CM Punk. Sami Zayn has been talking about how much he's hated CM Punk for all of these years. And now all of a sudden it's bygones be bygones. They're the best of friends. Jey Uso, he already has problems with Logan Paul and Gunther, and now he's involved with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. The stories don't line up, and this is where we're starting to get disjointed because it's like what pisses me off, Triple H, is that we get into a situation to where we suspend reality for a minute. And when you suspend reality for a minute, we want to enjoy the show. And right now, I'm just like begging for parts of it. Like our wrestling on WWE programming isn't better than the other show. The other show has better wrestling right now. So what's going to happen is if we don't start picking up the product of WWE, a lot of people are going to go check out the stunt devils over there in the other organization because the wrestling's not better in WWE right now. That's facts.
It's tough, man. It's tough. One of those things you mentioned, I kind of feel like the Sami Zayn CM Punk thing, it's the lead to Sami Zayn joining Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. I think that's my kind of prediction. I think Sammy's going over. But because we're gonna get a third man at some point. We're gonna get a third man. We'll see how that shapes up. I feel like, again, I don't feel a lot of the young guys to me aren't great on the mic. Like Braun's not great on the mic. The other young guy, Dominic Mysterio, he plays his character well of being kind of douchey and cocky and all that, but then he's not amazing on the mic either. Unfortunately, I think part of that kind of plays to we can't get these guys over yet because they're just not quite there. And then we just don't have any other young guys to do that with. I mean, they've got a couple pretty damn good guys in NXT to bring up. Right. I mean, I think they could bring up Obi Femi and Trick Williams right now. And I think it'll be by the end of the year, Joe Hendry will be on the main roster from TNA.
I'm not that impressed with Joe Hendry.
People love Joe Hendry. Joe Henry's that Cody-ish guy. Like he's the baby face that people can get behind. He's corny as hell to me. I kind of dig that because he's corny, but people like that character. So I feel like that. But then again, on the opposite side of that, we don't have any other young guys to bring up with them, and we've got a bunch of the old guys. You know, Cena's leaving. Orton says he's doing 5 to 10 more years.
CM Punk is there. Roman Reigns is getting into that stratosphere.
Roman Reigns
is kind of starting to get into that stratosphere. He's no young buck anymore either. I mean, Jey Uso's been around 14 years. He keeps telling us that. Cody Rhodes is entering into his 40s. I mean, all these guys are mature wrestlers with nothing coming behind the product. And so if we have nothing coming behind the product, what we're watching on Monday nights is not exciting. It's kind of like I'm hoping to see a good thing. Whereas on Monday nights 25 years ago, we knew it was going to be hellfire and brimstone. It's Kane. It's Kane. It's Kane. It's Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. And it's not about going back to the past, everybody. It's about understanding the product. Like I can go back all the way to the early 80s, right? The main character inside of World Championship Wrestling, which was known as the NWA at that time, and not Eazy-E's NWA, but Jim Crockett Promotions NWA. And that was the world title, the 10 pounds of gold. Whoever had the 10 pounds of gold, whether it was Harley Race, whether it was Nature Boy Ric Flair, whether it was the Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin, whether it was Dusty Rhodes, whether it was whoever in that era, they were the man because they had the belt. And nowadays, there's not that aura of it. And we had a champion in Gunther that was one of those champions that he said it, and nothing has backed it up, is I'm the kind of champion that comes in and I change the reign history of things. And then he taps out in 8 seconds. It's like, what is happening? So if I'm paying my money to go to a WWE event like WrestleMania 41, which we talked about, and I'm being hard on the product right now, ladies and gentlemen, because as a matter of fact, in the comments, drop your comments about what you see about the product. Like, what are your true feelings about it? Maybe I'm tripping because I'm so old school that I see wrestling from a different viewpoint. Maybe I'm the one that's tripping, but I don't think so. I think that if you really look and start to look at the crowd reactions to things, you'll hear occasionally, this is awesome, or this is something that's great, but it's not the standard. It's a like, whoa, this was really awesome. This match right here is really, really good. What do you think, Piggy?
You know, I can't disagree with anything. The product is definitely not where it needs to be. And I think we both agree, the women's division is way above the men's right now. Like, it's not even close in my opinion. And it's crazy to think that we've got more talent than we've ever really had. At least athletically, there's more talent than we've ever had. And somehow they cannot figure out how to put these characters and stories and make everything gel. Everything's so rushed right now. Saturday Night Main Event. It's this weekend. So they introduced R-Truth into the match at Backlash. Kind of made sense. John Cena throws him through a table. Cool. They're having a match, but on Raw, SmackDown, and this Raw, nothing from either one of them. There was an interview with R-Truth with Barrett, and he was asking him some questions, and R-Truth was answering and talking about, and he started doing the John Cena stick of, loyalty, respect, and all of that, and he was being John Cena, which was funny. I found it entertaining, but there's been nothing from Cena. This match was announced, and we haven't heard from Cena at all. He showed up at some fan fest event. He did an interview from there, which was kind of entertaining, but nothing about this match. So it's like, how do you hype up a match that one of the participants hasn't even talked about?
It's absent.
Like, why is this? I think it should be a fun match because R-Truth is hilarious. And R-Truth is
a miss on WWE's part to have Ron the Truth Killings win the World Heavyweight Champion from John Cena in his last match at WWE history, because it would be like the culmination of like, oh, well, John Cena gets to pick his last opponent. Well, R-Truth, you've been always like saying you're a John Cena guy. I'll give you a title shot, kind of like begrudgingly. And then R-Truth beats John Cena. And that would just be like the best thing ever. He doesn't have to keep the title for but a day. But to have R-Truth win the title would be outstanding.
That would be a lot of fun. I'm with you on that. That would be a lot of fun. And to me, from Elimination Chamber to now, everything feels rushed. All the storylines are so rushed. They're not fleshed out. They're not strong by any means. There's not been a lot of great, back and forth. I do think some of the lead. I actually started to really the Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton feud to start with was kind of cringy to me. They had no chemistry. Everything was off. And then when they started just beating the crap out of each other, I was like, you know what? I kind of like this. I like when Tiffany Stratton attacked her in her divorces. I was like, okay, let me get my popcorn. Let me go. Like, I was like, okay. That started to feel like there was something there. And other than that, though, there just hasn't been a lot to really make you feel connected and completely invested. I feel like the Saturday Night Main Event Saturday night, there'll be some fun matches. I think they'll be fun. I think they'll be entertaining, but I won't be totally invested in it. I won't be sitting there going, "Oh my God, I hope Logan Paul wins, or I hope Jay keeps winning, or I hope Sami Zayn and CM Punk whoop that ass." Like, I'm not invested in any of it. So like,
yeah,
how like wrestling is so much better when we can all have that joy of rooting as hard as possible for our favorite wrestler to win.
right.
And it brings me back to when I was a kid, right? I know Hulk Hogan's kind of a piece of trash now as I'm an adult, but when I was a kid, that guy couldn't do any wrong. It didn't matter what he
do
did.
nothing wrong, right?
I was like, Hulk Hogan's the man. Eat my vitamins, do my prayers, and pray the Macho Man doesn't get me. It just he had me. But I feel like there's that's what's missing a lot is those characters and those stories. Like you've preached on and on. Like I said, maybe I need to get. I actually talked to a guy on the phone, and I noticed he was in Sanford, Connecticut, and he told me his daughter works in that building. She works in the WWE headquarters, and I was like, man, I should have got that name. I can get that name so I could be like, my buddy Ron should be a writer. I can't be a writer. I'm not that creative. But my buddy Ron, this dude's kind of crazy. He's got a screw loose. He can make some good stories.
Some excellent stories. I'm looking at what's going on right now with the titles, for example. And if for those of you that are watching right now, I just want you to watch this for just a second. So right now, what would be really sweet is if R-Truth actually won the title at Saturday night's main event. The reason why that would be really sweet is because R-Truth cheats to beat John Cena using John Cena's own character that he's supposed to use to beat him. And then that turns John Cena face because he sees the error of his ways. And then he starts to go to help R-Truth, and R-Truth becomes a bad guy behaving like John Cena. So that gives them some run for a little while, right? Then The Rock comes back, and maybe this is the plan. The Rock comes back to slap some sense into Cena, and Cena's like, no, I'm trying to bring R-Truth back. And then The Rock and John Cena at SummerSlam now in a match against each other because now they have beef with each other. You didn't come support me at WrestleMania. You didn't come do this. The final boss versus John Cena at SummerSlam. Big event at SummerSlam. And now you got those two facing off at SummerSlam. In the meantime, you have the Money in the Bank matches, what have you. You have Roman Reigns win the Money in the Bank briefcase match. John Cena recaptures the World Heavyweight Champion as a good guy. And in his final match in WrestleMania in WWE, Roman Reigns cashes in his Money in the Bank after John Cena beats Cody Rhodes to take the belt from him before he leaves the WWE with the title. And you get Roman Reigns to be the good guy going into WrestleMania, and you can have Cody Rhodes and all of them follow that kind of pattern. That would make it exciting for the rest of this thing because you got R-Truth playing the character of John Cena, take the belt from John Cena. John Cena's like, wait a minute. I was the one that was the bad guy. How could you do this to me? And then all of a sudden The Rock comes back to try to slap some sense into Cena. Now they got beef with each other. It would be brilliant leading up to SummerSlam because they need something big for SummerSlam. They got 2 nights. What are they going to do at SummerSlam? Who the hell knows? The John Cena versus CM Punk?
Do we have anything else? Is there anything in July? Because Money in the Bank is the first. Well, Money in the Bank's the first week of June. Is there anything in July? Is there a PLE in July?
Hold on.
Because SummerSlam's the first week of August. WWE PLE schedule. No, so Money in the Bank We are empty. Oh wait, Night of Champions.
Yes.
Night of Champions is the end of June. So we still don't. I mean, we technically, if you're thinking about it, we don't have a lot of time between now and SummerSlam to build up that excitement for a 2-night event. 2-night. God, I think that story sounds great, Ron. I love that. I do think they need to turn John Cena back at some point this year. Preferably before the end of the year, before he's done. But we'll see how they plan to do that. I think, and again, you saw this at Backlash as he was leaving the ring. He was starting to be conflicted. They put that out there. The crowd was cheering, "Thank you, Cena," and he was kind of conflicted on what am I doing, right? You could see it. Pretty good acting by John. I thought he did a good job. That was part of trying to tell that story. But then you add this R-Truth thing, and then he disappeared for 2 weeks, which is fine. Put up a video of him on a movie set somewhere, and he's talking crap about R-Truth. Ron, you hurt my feelings. You're over the line. I'm gonna beat your ass like I beat up on the fans. Whatever. Like there should have been something, because really, I'll be honest. Like, I'm just excited because I like R-Truth. There's no hype for this match.
None.
And I think this is the headliner. And I'm like, I don't see how this is the head. Like, to me, Jey Uso and Logan Paul is more of the headliner, in my opinion, because at least there's something there. Because you've had Logan Paul every week coming and knocking Jey Uso out. That's at least been like, whoa, crap. Like, because it comes out of nowhere.
But then to Triple H's writing, Jey Uso takes a beating and keeps on ticking.
Right. Which is why he's somewhat of a pretty big fan favorite, because he keeps getting back up. He keeps fighting for the people, right? That's kind of his character right now, is he's fighting for the people.
Give me a champion I feel like I can't beat. I feel like I can beat Jey Uso.
Like you personally, or just like...
Yeah, I feel like I could beat Jey Uso. Like legit. Like I would be the world champion in like about 8 minutes. I could do it. Because he would go for the super kick, and I would duck and then low blow him, and then be like, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold. I would be all in, like, I know your moves, Jay. I know your moves, Jay. I ain't scared.
I will say, I just unlocked Jay yesterday in WWE 2K25 on my faction team, and I was playing a couple matches with him. And I was just like, damn, you've got the frog splash off the top. You've got the super kick. You have the spear. That's it. That's it. That's all you got. It's not the best. It's not the best. So
to be the world heavyweight champion, I mean, you had Seth freaking Rollins, right? Seth freaking Rollins, he has the Falcon Arrow. He has the switchblade. He's got the sling blade. Excuse me. Yeah, he's got all of it. He's got all of it.
Well, you know what he has, Ron? He's got aura, as the kids keep saying. He's got aura. When he comes out, he has that it. It's not a gimmick coming from the crowd. It's not getting them all excited. I love the yeet. I do. It brings the energy. But like when you look past that, Jay doesn't have all that aura. And Seth Rollins has it in spades. I love Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is one of my guys that no matter what, I love watching that guy wrestle, because he is the total package at all times.
But going back to what I had you watch this week, the Attitude Era versus what's going on now, did you notice the difference in the pop?
Oh, it's huge. But I think we can also agree, part of this TKO thing, ticket prices are crazy, man. And I don't think you have loud, hardcore fans at all of these events anymore, because they're getting priced out. You can't find a $20 ticket to go and watch your favorite guy you got to spend, what did we spend for Raw? We spent what, 150 a ticket, I think.
It was 150 a ticket plus food and everything like that. And we were sitting behind the stage looking at it too.
Right. Which kind of cool because we got to see every single person that came up to the, gorilla and was getting ready to go out. So we kind of knew what was coming. That was a fun angle to see it from. But, it's quite a bit of, tickets down low where we could actually high five everybody was like $300-$400 for a Raw event,
Right. So it's like when I think about it, the problem that we have right now is that the alternative doesn't have good storylines, but it has great wrestling. And so it's affordable to go in there. And the more that World Wrestling Entertainment lets go of its people and they start going to said organization, which is named AEW, right? What happens is these people that are watching these shows are familiar with these people. They start tuning in. That's what's going to get TKO's and Triple H's attention is the lack of people, butts and seats.
Right.
As long as they're making money and as long as they're being profitable, they could give two damns about where they put the.
It's kind of like the Cowboys, right? They make money whether they win or lose, and they make it hand over fist. So at the end of the day, do they really need to go all in or go all out? Because people keep buying their product regardless of whether they're winning or losing. The Rockies owners, right? That's the worst. This is the worst team in Major League history at the moment.
Wow.
They are literally, for the first 50 games or whatever amount of games they've played, they have the worst record since 1895.
Wow.
But they're still making money because people are still showing up to the game. They love Coors Field. They love the atmosphere. And a lot of the, opponents, fans show up.
Will show up. Yeah.
And again, until people stop showing up, it won't spur change. No, I don't. But everybody keeps wanting to go to these events, so I don't know if that's going to happen. I think the only thing that'll, if we keep seeing viewership ratings dip, maybe that might jar it a little bit, because the viewership ratings has been dipping on Raw. I think it was down to like 2.7 million.
Mm.
And that's
pathetic considering we're on Netflix now.
Right. That's not great. Now that doesn't always add into, like, when they put those numbers out, they usually put it out like Tuesday or Wednesday. And that doesn't calculate into the people that maybe come back Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and watch it. Right. So it doesn't show that, but it shows that kind of initial numbers of who was watching it live or later that day. And it's not great, Bob. It's not great. They need to do better.
The product is serviceable at best right now. I mean, your guy, Cero Mierda, he is a superstar, and all of a sudden they've cooled it. He's been put in the cooler. They're
getting him ready for Lucha Bros, bro. You can just tell. Every time he's in a tag match, he's the one getting pinned in the tag match, and it's all Judgment Day against him. I know this last week, was it AJ Styles that he was with? Yeah, I think it was AJ Styles. Like, he took the pin, Judgment Day won, that was all great. But then, like, why is he, like you said, why is he taking pins? This dude was the hottest thing he had going. And he's not the youngest guy either. He's not a young superstar, but his entrance is the best in WWE right now.
Completely, it's the best in WWE right now. And the challenge is that when you cool somebody off with somebody that's a little lukewarm, I mean, you got Dominic Mysterio. I see why they're giving him the title. I see why they're giving him some run and everything like that. Dominic is one of those that eventually he's going to be a huge fan favorite down the line. Huge fan favorite, bigger than his dad. I predict that somewhere in the next 2 to 3 years, he will be maybe even sooner, that Dominic Mysterio will be a huge fan favorite. Huge. There will be a time where Rey is getting beat up or something, and you're going to see Dominic Mysterio come out and save him. And it's going to be like when Elizabeth came out for the Macho Man in WrestleMania
Oh
7.
man,
Yeah, man. It's going to be
that's
like
a
that. And
moment.
yeah.
If they can create that, oh man, that would definitely lift Dom up. He's getting there. He's definitely getting there, and he's a fantastic wrestler, as we've talked about. Let me ask you this question, and this is, I was thinking about this today. So I want to read you. So the card for same Saturday Night Main Event. It's only a 2-hour show. It's on NBC. It's on Peacock. McIntyre and Damian Priest, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Logan Paul and Jey Uso.
Okay.
You've got Sami Zayn and CM Punk versus Rollins and Breakker.
Okay.
And you've got John Cena versus R-Truth, right?
Yep.
And then on Sunday, you have NXT Battleground. You've got Obe Feme versus Miles Bourne. Stephanie Vakir versus Jordan Grace. Joe Henry versus Trick Williams. Tony D'Angelo versus Channing Lorenzo. I don't know too much about those two dudes. Stole Roca versus Kalani Jordan. And then you've got a 6-man tag match from a couple guys that I've heard of. Which one of those cards sounds more interesting to watch?
The NXT one?
The NXT one's like miles ahead. It's stacked. And I'm still hoping. Stephanie Vakir loses the championship, and it's the last time she's on NXT. I'm hoping. Because
the right to censor might come out, but that's okay because we're in it.
There is no way.
Yes.
There's no way they censor Vakir. There's no way. There's no way. Now,
and she does it all. She does it all. She's an incredible wrestler. She's a one in a generation of her for sure. She's got the magnetism. She's got the look. She's got all of the moves. She does the 619 perfectly. She does the moonsault, the twisty moonsault, outstanding. The devil's kiss perfectly.
When she hits her SVP, I think she calls it. When she hits that clean, it's pretty dope. A couple times she won't hit it quite clean, but when she does hit it, it's dope. And then the devil's kiss, that Pat McAfee is going to have to do his best Booker T impersonation when that happens, because it's like, I think that's part of the fun is when they match up that and you see Booker T going and just getting into it, like that makes it really fun, even though like, I mean, we're all watching her butt. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. My wife walked in. I was playing WWE 2K, and I was playing with her, and she just happened to look up from her phone, and she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Devil's Kiss," and she's like, "How is that a real thing?" I was like, "I don't know, but I love it."
Oh my goodness. So, here on Smack Talking Raw, one of the things that Pinky and I are really bringing to the forefront is here's where wrestling is. Here's where we would like it to be. And the best way for you as a consumer of the product can show up is by being real, by not just giving your money away and or your time away just for the sake of just hoping that the product gets good. Because a few years ago, when there was another McMahon in charge, the product had become stale because he had lost touch with what was going on in the world with relationship to WWE programming. Well, TKO does not know WWE programming. And with Triple H at the helm, we have to hope that Triple H finds a way to find it, because otherwise TKO is going to take over and they're going to put their guy in here. And pretty soon we're not going to recognize the product.
I had a question that came up with this week here, Ron. Is it really weird? I started thinking about it. Is it really weird that the only real manager is the wise man.
It is.
Like, that's it. Nobody else has another guy that's helping provide. I mean, currently Carmelo Hayes kind of has the Miz. It's kind of like a semi-manager, right? But other than that, like, they're gone. You don't have that at all. And then I started thinking about in old WWE, there was always relationships, on-screen relationships, which again, anytime you're showing on-screen relationships, it builds that, like, if you do it right, fans like seeing those two together. And then that's when you can build in drama between the couple. You can build in drama by somebody attacking one of the parts of that couple, right? That's another way to build those stories. That's really easy, because love's an easy story to build around, right?
Bobby Heenan, for example, he was the Paul Heyman before Paul Heyman became
Right.
great. And I remember the time where the Rick Rude was the Intercontinental Champion. The Brainbusters had came over from NWA, and they had won the tag team championships from Demolition. And he came into the room and he was like so excited, because before he thought he was the Brain, but it was actually starting to come together. And he had everybody together. He says, "We did it! We did it!" And he was like kissing Andre, and he's kissing Haku, and he's kissing Rick Rude, and he's kissing everybody in the room. He's like, "We did it!" And then the Brainbusters come in. They thought we were too small, but we came in. Tell them about it, Tully. And then everybody was excited about it, right? But what happens is that their scripts are so watered down now. There's no true excitement about being the champ. And that's the whole purpose of being in WWE, is to win the belt.
Right. There's no way anybody breaks Cena's record, because they don't change the belts to the same person that many times. You know, the last couple guys that had, Gunther had it for a long run. Roman had it for a long run. Seth had it for a while with the World Heavy one, and then he's kind of not had it for a long time. Like, they don't put the belt on you enough to get you to that level. So I was going to ask Osco, managers, the love relationship. Dominic's the only guy that's got a love interest.
It's a true story. Oh my gosh, you're right.
He's the only one. He had it with Rhea. He had it with Liv. And now they're starting to bring Roxanne Perez into that love story, who's officially on Raw now full time. Thank you, Jesus. She's amazing. So I'm happy for her. I think they can build some good storylines around her, hopefully. And I started thinking about it when I saw her show up. Give Dominic some chicken nuggets, or chicken tenders, but they're nuggets. Tenders are different. You know what I'm talking about.
I totally do.
I was like, come on, guys. Those aren't tenders. Those are nuggets. Let's be real. Right. I was like, it's cool. If you like the nuggets, dinosaur shaped, hey, no shame, man.
No shame.
Me too.
They're actually delicious. They're delicious.
I was like, I started thinking about SmackDown. I was like, that's the only love interest. How is that possible? How is that possible? Now, I know valets aren't, I guess, a big thing anymore, right? I guess maybe Maxine Dupree is a valet, kind of, because they don't let her wrestle a whole lot, and she's always walking out with Otis and Kawazawa. Other than that, like, what are we doing? Come on, guys.
It's Tizawa. It's Tizawa.
Okay.
Yeah. That isn't okay. We got to make sure Tizawa. So how we fix the Triple H problem is, I brought it up last week. We start having vignettes introducing wrestlers so people know who they are a little bit, start getting behind them. Aleister Black, you come in and you used to wrestle here before. I used to wrestle here before. And before I went and took my trade on the road. Now I'm back. And I'm back and I'm in black now. And you guys will see me and he starts doing this more and more. And then all of a sudden he shows up in the ring, does some things. You're like, dude, this dude's cool.
Well, you know, they've done that the last 2 weeks with Rusev, and I've actually liked Rusev's vignettes that he's done the last 2 weeks. They've been pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy that. They need more of that. I absolutely agree with you.
Because the new product right now, the challenge that we have is a lot of people, they just don't understand who these wrestlers are. There's a lot of people that come back to WWE. And so 5 years ago, the people that liked wrestling then may not A, be watching wrestling anymore, B, totally turned off by this character because they come back and they're like, well, are they going to leave again? Did they leave because they sucked or whatever the case may be or whatever, right? Now they're back. Now what, right? So when I think of WWE programming, one of the greatest angles that we've ever seen on WWE TV is when the Nexus came and took over Monday Night Raw and destroyed the ring with John Cena and everybody in it. And Daniel Bryan was choking out the ring announcers and everything. And it suspended belief for a minute that like these guys from the other organization have taken over because the announcers went quiet. And that was one of the greatest things ever. And they blew it, just like they blew John Cena's heel turn. I told you they should have had him screw Jey Uso over from his title win and either have Jey Uso win the title later on in the year or something, blah, 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 blah. They could have done so many things. But Triple H smells himself, and thank you, Maggie, for those words right there. That's my wife, Maggie. He smells himself, and then what happens is that he thinks that his writing can overcome all obstacles, and that's not the truth. Tell him about it, Double A.
Man, you're so right, Ron. So again, I'm still gonna hope. I'm still gonna pray. I love what they're doing with my boy Fatu. I'm loving him right now. Fatu, Penta. I'm hoping to get Stephanie Vaquero. I'm loving Io Sky. I do like what they're doing with her right now. I did like the match her and Rhea Ripley had recently, the tag match they had. That was really good. And it took away a little bit of the hate between Rhea and Io. But then you could still see Rio was like, I'm coming for that belt. We need more of that. We need more of we need to make the US title. Selena Vega just does nothing for me, man. Like, I don't even know why the title's on her. I hope they get Lyra is on Raw. So I'm hoping they get Roxanne Perez that title, Intercontinental title, quickly. Because Lyra just doesn't do anything for me. Just doesn't do anything for me.
Nothing.
And
the
Roxanne
whole
Perez,
rosters need to be split. They need to split up both rosters and start over because, like, it's very meh. The product is very meh. LA Knight, he's very meh on SmackDown. Bring him over to Raw on Netflix and let him have a little bit more energy with them. Let him curse every once in a while on Netflix. Let him get a little bit more edgy. Let them let The Rock come back and choke Cody Rhodes and beat him up on his own truck again. Let him do all that.
oh, that would be amazing. God, that'd be amazing if they just take off the shackles, man. Let people get creative. Let us do some weird stuff. I also this week, and it made me think about it. God, I miss Bray Wyatt.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Because he at least was testing the limits. He was doing things outside the box. He had characters that were deep and dark and they had meaning. I did so I watched the Bray Wyatt documentary, which is great. It was fantastic. It was 2 hours. You got to see a lot of behind the scenes. You got to see how the guy was just a big teddy bear. And then you get him in the ring and you get his mind creatively working on his character. And he went to deep, dark places with that character. That Funhouse match with John Cena, which really wasn't a match. That was more of a long promo than anything. I wish there was a little bit more wrestling in that. But I loved how they basically attacked all the different eras of Cena. And that was just so amazing to see. And it made you think, and it made you start to question. And it also made you go, is John Cena really the good guy?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Which coming forward now is perfect. And that was years ago, right? That was back in the COVID year. So at WrestleMania 36. We need more of that. We need more of the creativity. We are lacking that so much, and that's just let the shackles off. Let these guys come to you with ideas and create those vignettes, create those moments. Don't always waste a moment off air just so it goes on social media.
Right.
Like,
right.
Kevin Owens beating the crap out of Cody after, was it WrestleMania? Not WrestleMania last
No,
year.
it was after their match that they had last year at Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, yeah. Things like that. Like, why was that off the air? Like that plays to, if I'm watching, show me that. Now I'm like, whoa, wait, what happened? Why is Kevin doing that? Like, it makes me like question all that versus if I have to see it on social media, it's like, like, okay.
You're
Like,
trying to make this made up wrestling thing real. And I don't have that much time to be watching stuff to make sure that I catch everything that you're trying to do as a seed Triple H. But that may just be for our era because we're a little bit older. The kids are into social media that way. So all of a sudden something perks up. So it's not for us.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, Ron, I do hope. I am excited for at least for Battleground a lot. I am interested. I hope R-Truth goes full John Cena. I hope he comes out to his music. I hope he wears his clothes. I hope he uses his moves. I hope it's a complete mirror match. I think that would be hilarious.
Hilarious.
And I think him beating down Cena to try to beat that, loyalty, respect back into him would be a really funny thing to do. I don't think there's any way Cena loses the title to R-Truth, but I think at least if we could turn everything on its heel, on its side, I think this match could be really entertaining. We'll see if they do it.
I love it. I love it, bro. Take us out. Let's do it.
So, all right, Smack Talking Raw. That's another episode in the books. Hit us up on Facebook, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear. What do you want to talk about? We are up for anything. We will not pull any punches. And, if you don't like it, we got 2 words for you. Stuck it.
That's right.
Everybody
baby.
have a great Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to all our veterans, all our military. We out.
See you next week.